Each year, Microsoft Research hosts hundreds of influential speakers from around the world, including leading scientists, renowned experts in technology, book authors, and leading academics, and makes videos of these lectures freely available.
Hello? Hello! Welcome! Welcome to Design Expo 2015. In case you're wondering about the slideshow that was going as you guys were arriving, this was an inclusive visual identity that we came up with. It was a joint effort here at Microsoft and outside. We created the main symbol that you can see in color, and we asked other people to reinterpret that symbol, which is a capital letter D, in a way that it represents inclusive design. So that's what you were looking at. And this event is public, open to the public, so feel free to tweet. And if you tweet, use the hashtag DExpo15, which is our hashtag for this event. I was the first one to use it, so please fill it up. So starting with just a bit of feedback about background about this. There's been so much feedback, I'm a little kind of getting out of that mode. Background about Design Expo. It's about identifying some key challenges that the world is facing and giving them out to top design schools around the world and seeing how they interpret the problem. And another goal is to enhance long-term relationships across the schools and between Microsoft and the schools. We had a couple success stories from the past when a couple schools met in here, Design Expo, a Brazilian school and a school from the Netherlands, and they started an exchange program. We also had one of our Design Expo alums go found a company, which happened to be Foursquare, so he passed through this room just like you guys. So we like to foster this community with Microsoft and also across the schools. And this is the 12th year we're doing Design Expo. So we've been doing this for a while. So the process, we start at the end of the year, we start by selecting the topic, and then we select a set of schools, and it's usually 8 schools worldwide, and we rotate through the schools. And then we assign Microsoft liaisons, which are people who travel to the schools to meet with them and give them feedback throughout the process. And each school starts a semester-long course on the project, and then the liaison goes back to the school to select the final project that is here. So you guys, if you're here, it's because you're a winner. So be happy for yourselves, and you made it. And we're super happy to see what you have. And today's the day they present, and they present for 8 minutes and then get feedback from the amazing critics here. The design challenge this year is inclusive design. And in 2014, the World Health Organization has radically revised their definition of disability. They're defining it as a context-dependent condition versus an attribute of the person. So in this way of looking at disability makes us realize that we all go through disabilities throughout our days and throughout our lives. From being in the sun and not being able to see my screen to being somewhere that's really noisy and not being able to hear. Or when I'm driving, I am cognitively disabled and visually impaired when I'm doing that task. So we asked the students to look at a spectrum from permanent disability to temporary to situational. An example of permanent would be somebody who amputated their arm, to a temporary case, which is a new parent who has to do everything one-handed because they're holding a baby on the other hand, to I blanked out. To situational when you have like a broken arm, for instance, or when you're carrying groceries outside the store. So this, just to say that it happens throughout our days and throughout our lives. And we think that by designing for the 1%, we end up benefiting everybody. So we just think it's a good design process. These are our participating schools. We have Pontifical Catholic University from Rio, Brazil, University of Applied Sciences, Potsdam, Germany, Carnegie Mellon University from the US, Korea Advanced Institute of Science and Technology, KAIST from Korea. Both KAIST and PUC Korea are it's their first year during Design Expo. We have Delft University of Technology from the Netherlands, NYU Shanghai program, Art Center College of Design, and our neighbors, University of Washington. We have amazing critics sitting right here in front of you, and I will go ahead and introduce them. I hope you like the pictures I picked for you guys. It was on the web, so I felt. So Rob Gerling is a co-founder of local design and innovation firm Artifact. His career started at Apple in 1991 and 1992 when he won the Apple Student Interface Design Competition for concepts around mobile and personal computing. Rob then joined Microsoft for 10 years. He started at the Office team. He then worked in games and eventually became the design manager responsible for the user experience and branding for Windows XP. He worked briefly on Vista before going to join IDEO as senior interaction designer. And at IDEO is when he decided he should go found Artifact. And he founded Artifact, which has been around for almost 10 years now. And prior to founding Artifact, Rob worked at Sony Computer Entertainment of America. Thank you, Rob. We're very happy to have you. Our next critic is Angelo Satira, who has met the Grumpy Cat in person. So we can get his autograph later. Angelo is an American entrepreneur and co-founder of the online community DeviantArt that most of you probably know about. And DeviantArt is a social network for artists and art enthusiasts and a platform for emerging and established artists to publish, promote, and share their work with an enthusiastic artistic community. DeviantArt has over 32 million registered users, and it attracts over 65 million unique visitors per month. The community members upload over 160,000 pieces of artwork every day. Angelo co-founded DeviantArt at 19 years old, and it was not his first company. He founded another company 4 years earlier, when he was still a baby, a music file sharing site called Dimension Music, and he sold it in 1999 before starting DeviantArt. Thank you, Angela, for being here. Oh, I forgot to say he was born in Greece and he's an Aquarian like myself. Next, we have Wendy March, senior designer for Intel's New Devices Group. Oh, you're not new for the New Devices Group? Is that not you? Okay, that's what was on your website. What's your role? User Experience Manager for the Intel's New Devices Group. Her current work focuses on speech interfaces, a new form of interactions with physical devices. She has also led projects that explore new forms of interaction with mobile devices that are enabled by sensors, which happened to be the topic of last year's Design Expo, and advanced imaging technologies, especially new types of gaming. She also led projects that included reimagining domestic robots, the future of smart streets, and how the design of digital money can reflect our social values. Wendy has an MA in computer-related design from the Royal College of Art in London, which has participated in Design Expo, the school, and a Master of Science in Information Systems from the University of Brighton. Prior to working at Intel, Wendy also worked at IDEO and also interned at Apple in her early career. Thank you, Wendy, for being here. I wanted to give special thanks to our veteran, Mike Caspro. Mike is just over here. He's our honorary critic. He has been helping students present better and giving them creative feedback for the last 9 years of Design Expo. And Mike is now a senior vice president and executive creative director at Proximity in Toronto, Canada. And I learned that Toronto, Canada was voted the best city for 5 years in a row. And Mike has a spare bedroom. And thank you to the liaisons, and thank you to Unati Dani for coming up with the visual identity and the whole visual identity team. Thank you. We're ready to start with our first team, Rio de Janeiro, Pontifical Catholic University, with MESH, Reliving Memories, Emotions, and Impressions.
Can I begin? Yeah, you're ready. Hello. First of all, it's a huge pleasure to be here today. We are from PUC-Rio, the Catholic University of Rio de Janeiro in Brazil. And my name is Patrícia. And these are my team colleagues, Iris, Jessica, and Rafael. We are here today to present our project, which is focused on the visually impaired. So there are about 285 million people visually impaired worldwide. And according to the World Health Organization, there are there are 4 levels of visual equity that goes from normal vision to blindness. We decided first to focus on the 3 last levels to interview. So our first conclusions were that, first you ask, who are they? What do they like to do? Which challenges do they face? And our first conclusions were, there are some subjects that came up, like they talked about their feelings, about where do they like to travel to, how they interact with people. And there was this particular subject that was memory. We talked with Aline. This is Aline. She's a girl severely with severe visual impairment. And she has the habit of keeping a journal. Actually, she blogs, so she likes to share her experiences and feelings online and share with people. And then we started talking about memory also with the other interviewers. And they talk about storytelling and relating memories to events and places. So realize the strong connection between people and the recalling of past experiences.
Among these statements, we found three quotes that were interesting for us to work with. So, like, most of the tools designed to keep memory rely on vision. My memory is like a photo album to me. The Eiffel Tower means nothing to me. The most important is what I've done there. So, those three phrases showed us that memories are related to places and events. And as for fully sighted people, they rely on visual aspects such as photography and video. And how about the visually impaired? They don't have this. They don't rely to visual aspects, but they still have the connections between places, events, and their moments. That's the point. There is so much more to memory than only visual aspects. So
So what about you guys? What do you do to remember? What is memory to you? We have a lot of ways of keeping memory on a daily basis. For instance, when you check in your favorite restaurant, or when you go out with someone special and you tag it and on social media. The bottom line is, remembering is our way of treasuring our past. And that's why we created Mesh, the memory sharing. Mesh is a system that allows users to capture, relive, and share memories through a wearable device using an online platform. With Mesh, you can capture and relive sensations, and you can share and discover memories to and from others.
But how do you capture a memory? Well, every interaction done with Mesh service is done by this little device here. And for you to capture a memory, you just need to tap in the bottom of the device. And for doing that, all the auditive information will be recorded by a microphone here. The temperature of your skin will be recorded in the back of your ear. And there will be a sensor near the user's temples that will record the heartbeat. All the representation of this memory will also be done by this device in the same 3 parts. And for reliving the memory, you just need to search it using those three characteristics. The name of the user that recorded this memory, the place that it was recorded, and the date it was recorded. By instance, I'll show just like, you just have to tap here and say, relive my memory on April 15, 2012 on Rio de Janeiro. And if you're not looking for any specific memory and you want to search for something interesting, you just have to tap it here again and say, relive memories randomly, and then walk around looking for memories that will astonish you. But every memory, by default, is only personal and private. And you need to share it for make it public for other people. And you can do that by two things. You can share directly to someone's Mesh, or you can use social networks, such as Facebook and Twitter. You just need, when you record a memory, or just relive them, you tap and say, share on my Facebook, and then tag your friends, such as tag Maria Bonelli.
So you might be wondering for whom Mesh was designed for. By all means, for everyone with different levels of visual acuity.
My love, I miss you a lot. I wish you could be here with me.
السلام عليكم. أنا مسرورة جدا لأنني أتواجد في KAIST باليونان، وقد تعرفت على كثير من الأصدقاء.
Ich reise der ganzen Welt mit meinem Freund für 2 Monate. Viele fantastische Dinge sagen wir, aber ich bin einfach nicht wie nach Hause zurückkommen.
2, 3. Chciałam powiedzieć, że to jest bardzo zimno. Cześć!
Wow. This is the best thing I've done in my life.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, off to the judges' comments. want to start, Rob?
What a commendable job, guys. I actually saw, I'm cheating a little, because I saw the presentation on Monday, and we had some concerns with the way it was presented, and you guys have totally addressed all of that and then some, and totally nailed the timing, and you've done a great job. So congratulations on that component of this, which is an important component, right? The storytelling of your method and process. I'm really struck by the power of the video to convey the idea. I think the simple voice user interaction for a call based on place and voice key phrases is probably a pretty good start at the UI. There's going to be some challenges there with on that April 12th day in 2012. There was quite a lot of activity, and trying to sort of disseminate between different types of activities could be quite challenging. But I think it's a commendably simple user experience, at least at this level. And I think the form factor as well deserves some nice. It's very discreet. It actually looks quite fashionable. There's a kind of nice wearable kind of aesthetic to it. And so I just want to congratulate you guys on a job well done in communicating the power of your idea in a quite challenging space. So well done.
I really agree with that feedback. I really like the result. Like, I love the way that you ultimately post this to Facebook and you have a visualization of the experience and that little kind of heartbeat piece. And I think the more that you guys expand on that piece and that resulting product, the more you'll drive people to want to engage in that behavior. So that's really, really emotional and really, really like human and really great. So I think that'll transcend nicely on in social spaces. I'm not so sure about kind of the hardware components or the wearable components. I think that you've done a phenomenal job with it so far, and I look forward to seeing you guys progress on the hardware piece. So yeah, terrific.
Thank you. Well done. I have worked on something that goes around your ear. It's really hard getting things to fit people's ears. So I think that was nice. I mean, very kind of simple, and you thought about that. I thought it was a very interesting space to think about. As you say, most memory-related things tend to be visual. Although people have, for centuries written novels and journals, and but it's an incredibly important thing for people. So I think that was a very interesting space to focus on. I'd have liked to have seen a little more prototyping happening. I think to understand both what you're capturing and then the prototyping of kind of playing it back and kind of having some sort of showing that, this is how people felt about it and this is how it worked and this is what a memory was made of. I think that would have been really, an important part. So I think for another project that, kind of bringing that out would be really important. Okay. But very nice, thank you. We're all terrified of being over time.
Okay, we have 3 minutes for questions, but you guys should switch. Well, I mean, the next team should start coming, and then we'll open for questions. Yeah, Phil? I'll repeat the question.
I'm just curious if you thought about your examples were recording something speaking, but I'm interested in audio and sound, and I think that ambient sound is actually very evocative from every point of view, without recording. So did you look into that at all?
Yeah. So the question is, I just need to repeat the question for folks in the video, that you guys talked about recording sound, but ambient sound is another great thing to be recorded. Have you included that?
Actually, yes, we haven't. We decided to cut this from the presentation because of terms of time, but we have 2 devices, and each one of them will have 1 microphone. So we used kind of binaural sound capturing for an environmental sound recording. It was in the process of the project, but we decided to cut off because were not the focus of the user experience.
Any more questions from the audience? Yeah, in the back. Two in the back. What's the length of the recording? What's the length, the duration?
Hi. We didn't really decide for a length, but it should have, because you could. Yeah, but you can record forever because you can forget that the device is on and it's going to be recording everything. So yeah, we have to decide on length, and that's a good idea. Thank you.
Do we have time for more? Thank you.
Each year, Microsoft Research hosts hundreds of influential speakers from around the world, including leading scientists, renowned experts in technology, book authors, and leading academics, and makes videos of these lectures freely available.